through, and he was fine with it.
So I had him in my daughter's band, and I was like, went to text him on Friday night, and I was like,
Awesome. That sounds good. Well, thank you so much. No, I'm in the office right now. I haven't been home in a month now. So I guess it'll probably be a while before I get back there. No, so I went back. I was gonna go back for Christmas, but then I couldn't because of different COVID stuff. And then was able to go back for New Year's. And then my mom loaded me up with a bunch of good food, and now I'll be hunkered up in DC for a while now, maybe till the summer. But it's good to see them and be back in Virginia for a little bit. But you doing well? Good, good. Really? I'll take a look at that. That's weird though. For Cision? Oh, because he's there. Okay, he's there. Fine. Okay, that makes sense. Because I only spoke with Katie because she's like the sales rep. Well, if you can't get it, I have the document saved on my computer. Okay. I see. I see. Acting up. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for your help with that.
Sounds good.
Oh no, it's for sun's setting.
Good. We
Yeah, it's frigid.
so DC Public Schools has recently gone
Right. Wish who I was just talking to Kinsey down at the Capitol, and she was saying, looks like it's gonna snow this Sunday. I thought it was gonna snow today. I wore my goofy boots into work, but well, maybe we have. I mean, I was bundled up this morning, but yeah, it is cold. It is frigid. Well, I'm at the weekly weekly press conference, so I got to set up. But thank you for helping us make that happen. And sorry it took so long. Awesome. All right, bye, Pearl.
I mean, as soon as I talk about the Senate, on the Senate side, there's still my building yesterday, but like water moving until this morning, and the faucet is like running I'm gonna wait. I gotta hit like something. I hit 3 numbers and I was on one line, so I won like.
No, I just want to get, no, in the far corner, just want to get the flash on the glass. Just gonna try something different too, right?
Where are you?
You know, when you walk in the corner, there's a, I've done it before. I just want to make sure.
Just make sure you're.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, in the far corner.
Okay. Don't scare her. Well, you hop out.
I don't think much can scare Nancy Pelosi.
Well, you hop out of nowhere, so.
No, I'm in the corner.
How long do you need to leave? Like the whole time's at 9. What time do you get 8? So that was plenty of time.
What's wrong?
Anna, you were my computer.
So filming is recording.
I mean, we are at the funeral, so you're welcome to be. Good morning. Till 15 minutes. How are you guys?
Good. Okay.
Good to see you.
I was just
Good to
Twitter
see you.
response
Open.
because of Speak fan.
Okay.
Oh, because the page doesn't page.
You guys here on the 6th? I'm sorry. Yeah, I was too. I was outside. Yeah. I was actually, I was covering the around here. And I had to go cover all that like 5:30 in the morning and then come over here for this. Obviously because the place was on lockdown. There was like a stop at our offices at the National Defense Building, which is in closer to the Treasury. So I went to use the facility there for 5 minutes, but other than that, I was outside like 5:30 in the morning till 10:30 at night. It was so cold that you know that like I couldn't, it was like in my bones.
Yeah, if you want to write it down, but also give me the.
So cold. It doesn't matter how you dress when you're outside for
least
that long.
you have a pretty good relationship with him.
Just go with the next person is
Yeah.
no, we're not going to do it. I mean,
David
it's
wants a story
Scary.
on the left-wingers wanting to expel Republicans, but he's so wishy-washy about it. He's like, well, you don't have to have any today because we're good on content.
Tens of thousands of people. Like I don't know about yours, but Verizon didn't work at all. I couldn't even send text messages.
Right? Oh,
AT&T. I couldn't even respond to text messages asking about my well-being, where I was.
Which means essentially don't really bother pitching anything today, really, because I'm kind of overwhelmed. He does that a lot today.
Yeah. So when you come here,
He does that. And it irritates the shit out
yeah,
of
when
me.
you're
It irritates the shit out of me.
so you don't do a full rotation, and then also.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So everyone get one full rotation. Doesn't really matter.
And they've been kind of going crazy.
I just don't think he knows what to do with him, really.
Dress shed one. I'll drive her crazy.
It's possible she won't even like stick it like that.
Yes.
Me too.
So that'll be good. And I've been playing pencil more. I'm glad I never came to
Ish.
then because I'm way worse than I remember.
Hey.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, 'cause
You're right. I think the PR questions are gonna be.
Yeah, I started like I was doing okay with it. I could do it pretty slow.
I do it really
But like I was getting it in. I looked stupid. And then like my muscles got sore and then halfway through after like the third game I couldn't get so when it warms up by that time I'll hopefully be a little bit better.
yeah.
But there's just like a core thing that we can
I've coordinated with Susan, and we're thinking of a question right now.
What up? You know, I wish I brought my coat down here.
Oh, well, I just got here, but that's the only reason I did. But it is
Always
very
cold.
convenient 'cause it's freezing.
Always freezing.
I know, I was almost here and my husband called and he was like, "Did you bring your laptop?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You took mine."
Ha! So
Oh
you
my
had to go
God.
home?
I had to go all the way home.
Oh, that would have driven me nuts.
I know.
Literally.
I know. I was like thinking, well, I could just work from my phone or something, but he needs it, so.
Fuck, that's awful.
I know. Thanks, Kenzie. Hi. Long time no see. I know. How are you? Excellent. Never better. Awesome. Probably forgot we've seen you. Whatever. My goodness.
He's been back on the hill for like a day. He's doing boss everybody around. I know.
Are you getting a spot? I got two in the back of either side over here, and one over here. Okay. As long as we can all stay distant in the back, we can get those 3 spots.
This is Chris. Let me jump in here. I have to go soon. I'm keeping an eye on the dealer judge confirmation vote. That's the main thing. Then I'm doing some more research on some other topics, and that's really all I got for this cycle at this moment.
Yeah.
I reached out to Leader Schumer's office. They said they have no guidance on that. I said, yes, that was right after the committee vote yesterday. They keep me in the loop, but I don't know. I'm guessing it's going to be soon. He's got bipartisan support for distributors.
This is New York big plastic.
Sounds pretty good.
So much fun.
Confirmation Monday.
All right, thanks.
Confirmation vote. Mayorkas. Homeland Security. Cloture's today.
What would happen if they, like, maybe, like, proceed with the confirmation vote?
They will.
Really?
They wouldn't bring it up if they didn't have votes.
Schumer's in charge.
I thought there was a lot of, like, talk about them wanting to, vet his nomination more, or,
So they can't. They eliminated the filibuster for nominations
oh, really?
a while ago.
Oh.
So they can't. Yeah. They can extend like debate as long as they can, but they can't block a nomination.
Here's a question that Greg mentioned I had yesterday when we covered Chairman.
Connor, you're gonna get 2 weeks in a row here? I don't know if I hope so.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I certainly don't.
Oh, I guess until they decide they're going to go on the committee, it'll still be majority Republican. I don't think they've assigned anyone to the final
Committee
seat yet.
person said the resolution has been passed. They would have the rule resolution.
That, I don't know the rules for the committee. I don't know when that'll happen, but each committee has its own rules about assigning people and whatever. So right now, technically, if they haven't assigned anyone to that spot, then Republicans can still be in charge.
Okay, super helpful. Thanks so much.
Okay. Yeah, that's why. No. Okay.
that doesn't work out either.
Air
I'll
horn?
tap whoever's sitting here.
Air horn.
Follow this direction. Air horn. I'll have Kinsey ready with the trumpet.
There we go.
There's the frequency that the speaker can't hear. It's good. We should have most of the interior done in the next 2 weeks or so. Just gotta wait for inspections and some exterior work.
See, not much change for you guys.
Never done.
We got
And then you paint the kitchen, stuff like that.
They already did, like the initial paint, and now we gotta do, the cabinets are in, we gotta finish the tile work, countertops, floors, second paint.
So these kids change school districts?
They will leave. Went to a school district that looks virtually better than TCPS.
Probably, yeah.
We'll see.
I filled in everything else planned for that.
Just tell them to cancel it. Okay.
Fun times, checking.
We got somebody else.
The what?
Are you going for that? I think it's cool.
The what?
Ellen Halton's doing something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Kamala's husband.
Probably full.
It is cool.
Who makes that decision? White House?
What?
Who makes that decision? White House?
And you had correspondence with the Correspondence Association. It is a very, very distinct pecking order at the White House. It's like, there's no oil in that machine. It's great and stem.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
That's the problem. He
White House.
answered
And
something
like,
I barely understood.
Yeah.
but what is interesting is like the legality of, like, was it Colorado with the app?
Yeah.
They're not
Are you
letting
guys
you trade
obsessed
it?
with it? What's that? Are you obsessed with GameStop? I'm not, but.
No, no, you guys. I'm not saying you.
Craig Gordon is.
I'm not saying you personally, I'm saying your people.
Yes.
Craig Gordon is.
Like one of the biggest stories for their readership, dude.
They
I'm
stopped
not,
all,
I'm not poo-pooing it, I'm just asking.
they stopped all trading. You can't buy stock in GameStop, Nikon, or,
Are you sure?
yeah.
Just on
On
Robinhood.
on Robinhood, yeah,
Robinhood.
on Robinhood, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they've moved on American Airlines stock was up 55%.
Yeah.
No reason.
Well, they just like,
Closed that Reddit, Wall Street Bet.
well, they're opening other ones.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, so they're opening other Reddit pages, and like last night the big thing was Nikon, not Nikon. Yeah, it was Nikon.
Yeah.
People are losing their shirts on this, though.
Yeah.
Ordinary people.
Yeah, they're gonna get inflated. It's out.
saw the first episode. The second episode I recorded. It's only two, right?
No, it's just one movie.
Yeah, but it's two different.
Oh, it is?
Wait, on that. Oh, wait, what are we talking about?
White Tiger on Netflix.
Oh, White Tiger. I think you're talking about the Tiger documentary
No,
on HBO,
no.
which is pretty awesome.
No, this is a really good one on India. I watched it last
Oh,
night.
really?
Spontaneous, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
What
read
is
the
it?
book like 10 years ago. It's like about this like entrepreneur who actually is a murderer, who's like an anti-hero in a way. But it's really good.
Is it really?
It's shot in Delhi and Bangalore.
When was it? Oh, in Bangalore. Okay.
Yeah.
It's my family from.
Yeah, it's haunting. It's like I keep thinking about all this stuff.
When did it come out?
I think it came out like the 21st, the last week maybe.
Oh, it just came out.
Yeah, it just came out.
Ah.
Really good.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you're talking about the Tiger Woods documentary.
Oh no. Was that good though? Yeah.
Did you see that, Jake?
What?
The Tiger Woods
Yeah,
documentary.
but I read the book. And the book just came out. It was by I can't remember who it was by. I'm gonna watch it. Though.
I only saw I saw the first episode.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Only the first one's out yet,
Huh?
right?
What's that?
The second episode's not out yet.
No, it is. Yeah. I think it's only two parts.
It is.
It's only 2 parts. I haven't seen it yet.
Is it actually good?
Of course, the tiger people are like dumping all over it.
Of course. Yeah, he didn't cross that twice in that. I mean, he doesn't necessarily paint him as the saint.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot about Earl.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I did. Well, it's always the same.
It's like, yeah, it's a smaller group of like their leaders that would march.
But you can't get anywhere near here.
Exactly, it's like.
So where are they going to march? I agree, but just thinking about tomorrow,
A lot of
they
power.
can't actually march a Constitution,
They stop.
and they
You
can't
know
go to
signs
first
all the time.
Yeah, it gets a lot.
They actually do get
The
a lot
signs
of
in front of
views.
you.
Even though it's like,
Over the course of the year, they get lost. Anytime there's any story about anything. But they're not going to be able to get there. So like, where are they going to march? The back of the school board?
no, right.
Speakers in round.
Hopefully I don't have to do it.
I'm just not gonna speak.
If I was in charge, I would be on
I got a lot of work to do, so I'm not. Well, in theory, the march for life, but it's gonna be a lot smaller. I don't even know what it's gonna be next to. I'm sure it looked, I guess it would look creepy with all the, fences and all, but like.
Well, normally they walk from like Washington Monument basically to the Supreme Court of Constitution, and then rally.
She's almost here.
Almost here. You told the 55 photographers outside?
I mean, they're all up there.
Good morning, everyone. This month of January is a month of memorable Wednesdays, as you know. On January 6th, Wednesday, January 6th, our nation witnessed one of the worst assaults on our democracy and our Constitution in the history of the Republic. The following Wednesday, the House impeached Donald Trump for inciting the insurrection that week before. In just 1 week, he was impeached. And the Wednesday after that, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were inaugurated as the President and Vice President of the United States. History making in so many respects. Yesterday on Wednesday, we celebrated the 1 week since the inauguration. In that 1 week, President Biden, starting on day one, President Biden and Vice President Harris have driven a bold agenda for progress and for justice, issuing transformative executive actions ranging from crushing the coronavirus, equity, racial equity in so many ways, and again, addressing the climate crisis. Legislatively, those are executive orders. Legislatively, we have been working, and I'm very proud of our committees who are diligently working on the coronavirus release legislation as a basis for reconciliation, should that be needed. We will pass a reconciliation bill under leadership in our House of John Yarmouth, Mr. Sanders in the Senate. We will pass a reconciliation bill if we need it. We would hope that we would have bipartisan cooperation to meet the needs of the American people in terms of their health, in terms of distribution in an equitable way of the vaccine, continue with testing, tracing, treatment, et cetera, but also to meet their economic needs. So we would hope that, but we're not taking any tools off the table, should they not. While our committees are advancing this reconciliation legislation, at the same time the executive actions continue. Today's executive action will open up the ACA's enrollment period and take additional steps to expand health care. We're very excited about that because, of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and we see this as a matter of life and death. Very different from the Trump administration, who fought the Affordable Care Act, still don't have the verdict from this Supreme Court to destroy the lifeline for affordable, quality health care for all Americans. So we're very excited about that particular health care initiative today, in addition to the others that the President has put forth in relationship to the coronavirus. Again, we are preparing for the impeachment. Well, we have impeached the President, but we're preparing for the case. I'm very proud of our managers, led by Jamie Raskin, our distinguished array of managers, working very hard. They continue to prepare for a trial before 100 jurors, members of the United States Senate. This trial is about the protection of the Constitution and the preservation of our republic. We will insist upon the integrity and fairness of the proceedings, recognizing the role that the Senate plays in all of this. No one is above the law, not even a president of the United States, and Trump must be tried and convicted to ensure that no future president will ever think it's okay to incite insurrection, to stop the ascertainment of who the next president of the United States will be by falsely inflaming people falsely about the outcome of the election. In that regard, in terms of security, which is what we do, protect and defend the Constitution, security, protect the American people, our very first responsibility. And when they come to the Capitol, whether to work as a legislator, a staffer, a journalist, whatever, we want people to be safe. Later today, I'll be meeting with General Honoré, Russell Honoré, who's leading a security review of the Capitol complex. Updates on the timing, scope, and details will be forthcoming. Protecting the Capitol is a matter of protecting our democracy, and the House will not be distracted or delayed from our work that we are doing, again, to crush the virus, to meet the economic needs of the American people, and to do so in a way that is fair and just. Any questions? Yes, ma'am?
Madam Speaker, I wanted to ask you about Marjorie Taylor Greene. How concerned are you about her past posts, remarks, rhetoric? What would you like to see done about her?
What I'm concerned about is the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives, who is willing to overlook, ignore those statements, assigning her to the Education Committee when she has mocked the killing of little children at Sandy Hook Elementary School, when she has mocked the killing of teenagers in high school at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. What could they be thinking, or is thinking too generous a word for what they might be doing? It's absolutely appalling, and I think that the focus has to be on the Republican leadership of this House of Representatives for the disregard they have for the death of those children. They not only are they not interested in gun safety and gun violence prevention by passing legislation for background checks legislation, which is overwhelmingly supported in a bipartisan way in the country, but to have someone who would mock, call it a fake, those fake events onto the is just beyond. It's just beyond any understanding of any regard that the House Republicans would have for the House of Representatives, for the Congress of the United States, and for the heartbreak of the families in Sandy Hook and at Marjorie Stoneman High School. It really, at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, it's really beyond the pale. You're just going to have to ask them why they thought that raised itself to the level of something appropriate to do in the Congress of the United States. Yes, sir.
Just a point of clarity on the stimulus. Are you going to bring a budget resolution next week to the House floor to start that?
Yes. We're going to bring a budget resolution to the floor next week, and then it will send it over to the Senate. Then if they change it, then we'll take it back and address it. By the end of the week, we will be finished with the budget resolution, which will be about reconciliation, if needed. I hope we don't need it, but if needed, we will have it.
And one more question. Does Congress have any role in this GameStop stock manipulation issue that's going on Wall Street right now?
Well, I understand. Interesting, isn't it? I understand that the administration is taking a look. The SEC is taking a look at what that is. But we'll all be reviewing it. But interesting. It's interesting, yeah. A completely different. You had two questions. That was not considered a follow-up, would you say? Yes, sir.
Just to follow on security, you've had 30-plus members of the House send you and the Minority Leader a letter asking for more money for security. You have members who are worried about not only their safety at the Capitol, but when they go back to their home districts. Yeah. You have a member who has talked about executing you. You got a security bulletin yesterday from DHS about ongoing domestic violence threats. What are you saying to your members about protecting themselves, and what can be done for them to feel safe?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the letter from the members, but most of the questions, the items on their list have already been done. Perhaps they were not aware, and I take responsibility for them not being aware in terms of use of their MRA funds and some of the other issues that are in there. Today, when I meet with General Honore, he is looking at members here, members at home, and in between. So we want to have a scientific approach to how we protect members. I do believe, and I have said this all along, that we will probably need a supplemental for more security for members when the enemy is within the House of Representatives, a threat that members are concerned about in addition to what is happening outside. But I think that, again, what's in that letter, it's just a matter of communicating to them. That has been done, the MRA, the rest of that. I do think, though, that while it's appropriate that they use their MRA for their security, they shouldn't have to, because that money is there for them to meet the needs of their constituents. In the meantime, to protect themselves and their constituents when they communicate with them, that is confidential, private, and not provocative, but then also for us to have, and that's what we'll be looking at, recommendations from General Honore. We'll have some interim report today, and then he'll continue his work as we go forward. But it's very important.
You've been the subject of threats that comes with the job of being Speaker. Many of your members, not necessarily, some of them feel like they're targets now. What do you say to your caucus, to your fellow House members?
Well, what we're saying is that we're going to approach it in a way that will truly protect them, that the issues they raised in their letter have by and large been in effect. So they may be relieved to hear that. They'll be hearing also from the Sergeant at Arms today. And you'll see his letter talking about how their protection is further enhanced by certain initiatives that were taken. And as I said, General Honore is looking to see what really will work in terms of their service here, their service home, their transportation in between. But I call to your attention the Sergeant at Arms letter because it'll be more specific about air marshals, etc. But this is very, very important. It shouldn't be that not only is the President of the United States inciting an insurrection, but keeps fanning the flame, endangering the security of members of Congress to the point that they're even concerned about members in the House of Representatives being a danger to them.
What exactly did you mean when you said that the enemy is within? What exactly did
it
you mean
means
by
that we have members of Congress who want to bring guns on the floor and have threatened violence on other members of Congress. Yes, sir. Second.
Madam Speaker, do you believe that the president can get a fair and complete trial that lasts only 1 week?
Of course, and that's what our system is about. I don't know how long it will take. It depends on the response that he will make, but it will be a fair trial and respectful of the role that the Senate plays now that it goes over to there. Yeah, I do. Yes, sir.
Madam Speaker, on LGBTQ issues, the President campaigned on signing the Equality Act into law within his first 100 days in office. When will you hold a vote on the legislation?
I thank you for that question. This is such an exciting piece of legislation for us. We passed it in the last Congress, no success in the Senate, went to Mitch McConnell's graveyard, the Grim Reaper. But I'm optimistic about it because I do think we will get strong bipartisan support in the House and in the Senate. We're working with Mr. Cicilline, the author of the bill, for when we will roll it out with him and Mr. Merkley, the senator, and then we will again calendar it. It's an early priority for us, HR 5, and again, it's about ending discrimination. I'm very pleased with what President Biden has done so far, especially pleased about eliminating the prohibition on trans people from serving in the military. That, too, I think, was a triumph for decency and justice in our country. But some other initiatives that he took about contracting and this or that, it's really, it's amazing that we would even have to do such things, but we're particularly proud of the Equality Act because it's so comprehensive. And again, ending discrimination in the workplace and in every other aspect of life not only is good for the LGBTQ community, for our whole society, but also for the businesses that want the very best. They should be hiring without any concern of complaint about the diversity that they are introducing into their. That's why we think we'll have strong bipartisan support. We think the business community will help us in the Senate. Yeah. One more. Yes,
On
sir.
the impeachment
No,
trial,
sir, I said. Sir?
Thank you, madam.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that, you say reconciliation is a backstop, that you'd rather have a bipartisan bill?
Yes. Always.
But it sounds like you're not optimistic that that will happen. Is that a correct?
Well, we have to be ready. I do think that we have more leverage getting cooperation on the other side if they know we have an alternative as well. But I would think if we're talking about additional funding for vaccines to be, not only production, but their distribution, if we're talking about putting money into the pockets of the American people with the direct payments, if we're talking about supporting state and local government so that they're able to implement all these things, open our schools, our healthcare workers, our police and fire, first responders, our teachers, transportation, sanitation, food workers. I would hope that the Republicans would be supportive of that. Many of the localities that will benefit have Republican mayors and Republican county executives. So I would hope that we would be able to do it in a bipartisan way. And again, I've said if there's an argument that needs to be made to people that we need more funding for the vaccines, more distribution resources, more of the vials and syringes and all that make it happen, I think many of the Republicans would be supportive of that, and I hope so. But we cannot not have it happen. We have to act, and that is why I said we want it to be bipartisan always, but we can't surrender if they're not going to be doing that. Instead, we will pass it. Thank you all very much.
Should Green be expelled from the House? Madam Speaker, do you think she should be expelled?
Should Vice President Mike Pence come testify?